Hi, this is Dave. This is Chuck and Dave show, and we're sponsored by the Prescott Sunrise Lions Club. Our club meets at Waffles and More at 7 a.m. every Thursday. So come on down, get a free breakfast, and see what we are about, and how you too can serve our community just like we do.
I'm Chuck Schwartz, subbing in for Don Schaefer today. I'm a financial planner with Ameriprise here in Prescott, and I want to give a shout out to Don. Hope you're feeling better. He's a little bit under the weather today.
And my name is David A. Snyder, CPA, and I am a CPA, MBA, and EA, and I own my own company, David A. Snyder CPA, PLLC. We are both members of the Prescott Sunrise Lions Club.
We're going to talk about the Leader Dog program for the blind today, since vision impairment is one of the main challenges we work on as Lions.
That's exactly right, Chuck. Actually, it was Helen Keller in the 1920s who challenged the Lions clubs of the day to become the Knights of the Blind in a crusade against darkness. With that urging, the Lions clubs went from being business-oriented clubs to being service-related clubs. Today, Lions Clubs International targets many areas related to sight. The Prescott Sunrise Lions Club places a special emphasis on helping kids with sight and hearing issues.
Lions clubs internationally have helped people through many crises, such as tsunamis, earthquakes, and hurricanes. Locally, our club has helped in these types of disasters, like the Yarnell fire disaster, but we always come back to helping people in our community locally with eye and hearing issues.
And a few years ago, as a testament to that, the Prescott Sunrise Lions bought several eye scanners for use by the Yavapai School nurses who travel around to schools in the county to screen kids at a young age so their eye issues can be detected early on. And this is a very impactful program that helps kids.
And in the past, the Sunrise Lions, as well as the other Lions clubs in Yavapai County, have provided funds for people with eye issues to get diagnosed by doctors, to travel to specialists, and to have surgical procedures that provide the gift of sight.
The Lions Clubs of Yavapai County have also recently purchased a 35-foot RV. I always say it's 75, but that would be too big.
Maybe later.
And have equipped this 35-foot RV to provide eye care and diagnoses throughout Yavapai County, including many remote areas that have not had access to these services. The RV will help a lot of people. I hope many of you watching this program have seen this beautiful vehicle traveling around the Quad City area. It will be a subject of one of our future broadcasts, probably the next broadcast.
Providing funds for Leader Dogs for the Blind is another way the Lions clubs of the area help the community. These dogs are specially trained to help people who are blind function in the community. You may have seen many people in the area that are fully or partially blind being led by a working leader dog.
Even a couple of our local Lions, Tara Lee Smith of the Prescott Evening Lions and Phil Wellicke of the Prescott Noon Lions, who is a past president of that club, are blind, and I have seen them around town with their leader dog that they treat like a family, like part of the family. These dogs are highly trained and protect their owners with zeal.
Leader Dogs for the Blind has one of the world's most respected and innovative guide dog programs. At the heart of it is a free 26-day residential program that takes blind clients who are at least 16 years old. Each client receives individualized training during this time, including the selection of a companion dog that best fits their lifestyle, their travel pace, their stamina, and so on. The program provides training in a wide variety of situations that will help the client-dog pair fit into their current environment, as well as being able to adapt to their future needs.
Leader Dogs was the first organization to provide guide dogs specifically trained for clients who are both blind and deaf. Another not service that they provide to their clients is...
That's a good typo, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good typo. Is the use of GPS device that provides them their location, direction, street name, and nearby points of interest. This technology allows clients to achieve an even greater degree of independence in planning their own travel with having to rely on others for assistance.
Yes, that's right. It may be a little bit early in the year, but both of these programs, Youth Vision and Hearing Care and the Leader Dogs for the Blind, are funded through our tax credit program, focusing on the working poor tax credit. Please consider giving to these programs throughout the year using the Prescott Sunrise Lions Foundation. There's more information you can get on our website, which is lionstaxcredit.org. That's all one word, lionstaxcredit.org. For the 2015 year that just finished, our foundation raised over $62,000 to help the local agencies in our area. Dave and I and all of the Sunrise Lions would like to put a big thank you out to members of our community for their very generous support of this program.
We will now transition to our guest, fellow Prescott Sunrise Lions, Carl Anderson, who is going to talk to us about other highly trained dogs. All right, welcome back. We have Carl Anderson here of the Prescott Sunrise Lions. He's going to explain the Canine Companions for Independence program. Carl, thank you for being with us.
You're welcome. Good to meet you here, Dave.
Okay. Can you explain the program to us?
I can do that. First of all, the earlier segment was about the leader dogs, and they concentrate their efforts on the blind, impaired people. Canine Companions raises and trains dogs, almost specifically Labradors, for a couple other problem areas like helper dogs, service dogs, skilled companions, hearing dogs, and facility dogs, which I can explain more at length a little bit later. One thing I'd like to say, especially here in Prescott, sort of the newest area that they're concentrating on right now is what they call Wounded Warrior Initiative. It's not a new process, but it's new for Canine Companions. They're already raising dogs for our veterans that are coming home and that are have physical disabilities. At a couple recent things that we did where we're out in the public, people ask about PTSD, and we haven't got there yet. So they have to reach a point with the Veterans Administration so that they can furnish dogs for that too. That's an extensive process. But that's the newest area that they're branching out into, the CCI is branching out into. As far as me, I've been in the Lions about 40 years, and I have, I'm a trustee in what they call LPCCI, which is Lions Project for Canine Companions. We have two functions basically. We raise funds for CCI through memberships, contributions. That's the two main sources, and we do awareness, because it wouldn't do any good to have a great program if nobody knew anything about it. I've been here in the Valley about 2 years now. We came from California, and I noticed, talking to the fellow that does the leader dogs, I realized that they don't have anybody up here in this area doing either the Lions Project, or the CCI has some people down in Phoenix doing some, you've probably heard of Dog Fest and stuff like that. That's one of the things they do. It's a fundraiser, but it's also a public awareness thing of what they do. As a trustee, I go around and try to convince clubs to join. That's my main project. And so far we have 2 clubs out of the whole state of Arizona, but we're working on it. It'll be a long-term project. But we got our Noon Club, Prescott Noon Club, and our Prescott Morning Lions, Sunrise Lions Club. So it's a beginning, and that's where most of the funds come from. They pay dues on the basis of how many members are in the club. So if it's a small club, the dues are considerably less. The bigger clubs pay a little bit more. But all things being equal, it's a cheap, low cost adventure for the clubs to be able to get their name out and do a service for the community. The dogs that are raised, like I said before, they come in these different areas. A service dog assists adults with physical disabilities. Typically they're in a wheelchair, not always, but they're always adults in this category. The second one is skilled companions, and that is mostly for children, and they have children that have with physical or cognitive development disabilities. So that covers a lot of area, and I couldn't even begin to give you a description of each and every one of those, but that's the number one area where the dogs are trained for. And out of the 4 or 5 now with the Wounded Warriors. The other one's hearing dogs. Obviously, they're trained to alert their masters to sounds that hearing impaired people don't hear well or can't hear at all. They have different cues that they take, and they'll go get them and pull on their sleeve or whatever it takes to get their attention if something's going on. And the fourth one is called a facility dog. And these animals will be used in different types of facilities, senior homes, hospitals, and they put them in there. And about the best I can say for something like that is, who don't like to pet a puppy? And that's the way it works out, because people are there and they're trying to get well, and somebody will bring a dog in, and these particular dogs are trained to be so docile and so beautiful. It's like another method of healing. So that's the 4 primary ones, and like I said earlier, the Wounded Warriors is a national program. It's been around for a while, but the CCI is now getting into it. They have some of this. Oh, and one thing we have to offer, the Lions have to offer, the Lions and the contributors. This is funded to the point where it's free to the people that use the service. And that's a big plus. The most expensive thing is traveling to the schools periodically. About once a year they have to go over there and refresh, get retrained and stuff, the clients with the dogs. Initially they spend about a month over there, and they have their own dormitories, and they train with the dogs. They bond them. So the dogs are trained separate, and then the people get some training, and then they put them together. And then they have when it's all said and done, they have a program on stage where they graduate. It's called a graduation, and I can't say that I've ever done anything that's more moving, because these people are being given a second chance in life, pretty much. So I'm obviously a big fan of it, and it works well for me to try to get around and do this.
Carl, if I can interrupt real quickly, where is the training facility located?
There's training facilities. There's 4 of them, and the Florida, New York, Texas. The 2 closest ones. One is in Oceanside, California, which is pretty much due west of here, and the headquarters, and the one that I'm most familiar with, is in Santa Rosa, California, Northern California. It's about an hour north of San Francisco, and that's at the they call it the Charles Schwartz campus, because he, heard of Peanuts? That same Charles Schwartz, and he furnished most of the money to build that facility. So they use that. They go a long way with that Peanuts theme around that operation.
A lot of Snoopies over there, huh?
A lot of Snoopy stuff there, yeah.
So, just carrying on with that just for a second, do you know about how long these training classes last?
For the dogs? The dogs take...
For the dogs and the people.
Yeah, well, the people, the training is a lot shorter. By the time they're selected, the selection process takes a while, and there's a waiting list, obviously. They only have so much space and so many animals that they have. So it takes a little while to get on that list, and then they start their training. A lot of it's just book training, stuff like that. And then the final thing is they send them to the schools to bond with the dogs. The dogs are probably in training about 8 months or so. That's the best I can give you, the estimate of that.
Sure.
And it's on a daily basis. They have, every day they get some kind of training, and the beginning is just like college for students. They start out with general skills, and then as they're selected for their particular temperaments, for, we'll say, hearing or skilled companions, they give them more specific kinds of training for that and to fit the client. So they match them up from being separate to bonded together.
Yeah, with leader dogs, they tend to be labs or German shepherds or just a couple of varieties of dogs. Is there different varieties in terms of canine companions?
Most of I don't know the exact figures, but probably 95% of them are labs or golden retrievers. They're pretty much the same animal. They're just a little different.
There's a great commercial on that's going to disagree with that, but yeah, it's the temperament of the breeds that are involved with that. So
sometimes I've heard them using corgis for the hearing because they're very sensitive. They have very extra special hearing abilities themselves. I haven't seen any of those being trained, but I think they use a few of the other ones. But by and large, the thing started out as the Labradors and Retrievers, and that's most of what they use now.
Okay.
Well, you've been with, you said earlier that you'd been with Lions Club for 40 years plus. I know that you're relatively new to our club, but you've been here 3-4 years now? 2 years? Yeah, it seems like 3 or 4. But you know, what are some of the offices that you have held back in California and with that? And did those kind of lead you into you know, focusing your talents on the companion program?
Well, the highest office I've ever achieved in Lions, and probably the highest office I really want to do, as far as being get higher than was a district governor. And the district governor sort of managed the clubs in each district. Like, for instance, our districts had about 35 or 40 clubs. Each club having anywhere from 50 to 100 to 100 to 50. Some are considerably smaller. In Arizona, there's only 3 districts for the whole state. There are really a lot of travel area, a lot of land mass in between them, and I think they have about 30 clubs in each one of the districts also. And basically, you provide just the leadership that's necessary. You provide them by using the other people in Lions with training. It's like anything else. If people step forward and they want to do training, they want to help with this or that or the other thing. So it's a myriad of things, and it's a management process as much as anything. And it's 1 year, and you get yourself elected if you can. I was very lucky, very fortunate. There was a time when I couldn't do anything like that, speaking to people, but I got better, and was able to make my presentations, get my point across. Also, during that time, I was in part of the Lions in Sight Foundation, and they furnished glasses for people offshore, other countries, mostly Mexico, but not exclusively. The only thing I've ever had a question with was why we can't give it to our seniors. But there's some kind of a law about that with the government, and that's okay because they have other ways of getting them too. The Melvin Jones Foundation, which is a foundation within the Lions that raises money and awareness, trains. They do a lot of the leadership training, providing training for Lions that come through. And let's see what else. And multiple district offices. The Lions organization is broken into 3 segments basically. The district, which is our area here, the clubs in each district. We're in district number 1 in Arizona. And then the multiple district, which is the whole state, is like our district there is multiple district 21. And then the international, which from there on up, they function throughout the world. And they operate out of Chicago. That's their headquarters. And if you become the president of the organization, you travel for a whole year, almost every day. And it's more than I'd want to do, but I tip my hat to anybody that can take that on.
Yeah, actually, the past international president was one of the members of our clubs at one point, which was Joe Preston. He just ended his term a few months ago.
Right.
And you know, that it is a tremendous amount of traveling and responsibility, but a very prestigious job.
Yes.
Internationally, it's my understanding that Lions, we have about 1 million members, approximately.
1.4 million.
1.4 million.
210 countries. and about 47,000 clubs.
So we are probably the largest service club in the world,
Yes.
if not the solar system. So, excellent.
Yep.
Coming back to the Canine Companion program for a moment, Carl, you mentioned the 4 different programs that are in there. If you had to just sort of step back and, you know, put your finger on it, which of the programs do you think is more appealing to your heartstrings, the one that tugs at your heartstrings the most?
There's no question about it, though. As far as my heartstrings, skilled companions, because they work almost exclusively with children. You see them come on at the graduation. They'll come in with their mom and dad or whoever is with them, and they're almost always in a wheelchair or incapacitated generally, and it runs the whole gamut of just anything you would imagine could be wrong with kids. And I always thought there's no children deserve that kind of condition, but God willing they'll improve. And the dogs are a major part in it, because it's just like I said, who don't like a puppy? Who don't like to pet a dog? So that's a big deal.
Exactly. And you know, as Dave said at the start of your little talk, the Leader Dog for the Blind program is a distinct organization. Canine Companions is a distinct organization, and the part of it that you're talking about, it's heartbreaking to see kids that are in wheelchairs or are bound to the bed, have very little ability to interact with their environment, and yet it's like a miracle when these companion dogs come in and they bond to them. It's like they become one whole person, and it really gives a whole different quality of life to the kid. So it is just a fabulous part of it.
I'd like to share just for a moment with they have a website, the Canine Companions do, and if you watch the website, you'll see the whole thing, the emotional thing, the training thing, and it's really easy to find. It's www.cci.org, and they have a number of different types of presentations on there, but you can keep yourself really busy and get a real good idea what we're talking about in the whole thing. The LPCCI piece is mostly Lions, not exclusively, because sometimes the other organizations will join, and we welcome it because they help the funding the same as the Lions do. But it's been historic since 1975. The LPCCI was formed, and it's a 501c3 foundation like many of the other ones, and it's made up of all volunteers. There's no paid staff at all, and they operate. Their headquarters, like I said, was Santa Rosa, California, and we're going to get some things going here in Arizona. Get more clubs involved and get the word out.
Well, thank you for being with us, Carl. Thank you for explaining.
I'm going to ask Carl another question, if Kendall doesn't mind. Because I know that one of the other programs in our club that you're spearheading is the recycling of eyeglasses and hearing aids. And I wondered if you could give our audience an idea of if they have old eyeglasses or hearing aids that they'd like to donate to the program, how can they do that?
The best way is they have collection boxes around town in different places. The Walmarts both have one at the vision centers. Some of the eye doctors have. Dr. Bundy's office has a collection point.
I have an office.
Prescott Vision Center.
Yeah. Dave's office has a box. And you see them around just a lot of different places. So by all means, don't throw them away. They only end up using the ones that are not broken and stuff, but you never know when they can find a piece that'll work for something else. And like I said, you have to see the films of this too, because use your imagination with this, and these countries like Mexico, and people line up, sometimes great long lines, a quarter of a mile long, and they come in, and our volunteers go down there at their own expense and do the exams and give them glasses. And some of these things, what's funny is some of them, the men, for instance, will come out with red glasses with curlicues on their glasses, but they don't care. There's no vanity involved. They can see, sometimes for the first time in their life. So that's a great program. We did about 2,500 pair last year, our club. The Noon Club is much bigger and much more spread out, and they do a little better, but we get around.
Well, it seems like you're passionate about both programs and or all the programs that you're involved in, and I really appreciate you coming on with us today.
Yeah, thank you very much, Carl. Really appreciate it.
Yes. So the Prescott Sunrise Lions just helped establish the Prescott High School Leo Club, and the members of the Leo Club are currently learning to create television shows by doing the directing, the camera work, and producing and editing of this broadcast. The members of the Prescott Media Center crew are teaching these Leo Club members these skills. The Leo Club members that are involved in this production are Lisbeth Nava, Kendall Schwartz, Chase Dunton, Sarah Wynn, and Ann Snyder, my daughter. I would also like to thank Paul, Jim, Linda, and Mary from the Prescott Media Center for helping us to explain to the community about the Lions, as well as training the Leo Club members to record this broadcast. We really appreciate it, and I think it really shows Lionism in the area, and I really appreciate having Chuck fill in for Don today, and also Carl Anderson talking about Canine Companions. We really enjoyed it, and come by and see us. We're going to probably talk about the 35-foot RV van that helps people in rural communities in Yavapai County. We'll talk about that next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.